All right. Thanks everyone who's joining us down the road on YouTube for watching us today here at the Tulsa Center for Spiritual Living, where we continue our theme of living out loud, my passion, my purpose. And the week's title is Perfectly Imperfect Passions. So a couple months ago, I broke out my blue blazer.
Good.
Why am I wearing blazers for 100 degrees? Yes, but the whole talk, my collar was out like this, and none of y'all told me.
Oh.
Well, we had to have something to laugh at.
Yeah.
It was something for me to laugh at myself about. I thought it was so funny. You know, like, so today, was my collar underneath?
It's perfect.
You know, I spent many years as a flight attendant, and when we were in, we would often eat lunch. Flight attendants eat lunch standing up, food standing up in the galley. We don't sit down. And before we go out into the galley to serve food, you know, in the cabin, you've got to do a smile with your coworker, make sure you don't have spinach or a hunk of food or something, you know, dropped onto the front of us. So anyway, we have to have each other's back to make sure we look good. And guess what? We're not going to look good, and we're going to laugh, and we're going to enjoy our perfectly imperfect. So we are all divine beings. How many of us believe that? I do. I like that song, right? I love that. We're all, you know, living in the spiritual realm. Yet our critical voice, you know, the one that says, "Is my collar up?" can often paralyze some of our passions. So one of the things we're going to explore today is how we discover finding that place of self-acceptance where we can share our gifts that are uniquely ours to give. We are never alone, and can trust that we are always guided to that perfect expression, because if we are one with spirit, we are never alone. So if you'd like to repeat this affirmation, some people don't like ministers to tell you what to do. So if you don't want to repeat the affirmation, I'm not offended. But most who would like to join, repeat after me. I am a spiritual being.
I am a spiritual being.
Living my perfect human experience.
Living my perfect human experience.
Just like the song said, plenty different words. Let's go lead it up on that. I should pick the song. So as we discover our passion and our purpose, or discover anew our passion and purpose, we may default sometimes to judging ourselves or comparing ourselves to others, feeling that we're not worthy or fully capable of carrying out those goals or dreams. Marguerite, I'm thinking of you just watching YouTube videos and saying, I'm going to go on a new painting passion, right? You're able to dive right in and do it. Although I remember, I think you said that you had to go back and get more materials. Maybe you were thinking, okay, I'm not quite ready to dive in yet, but you got there and created beauty. But if we feel that we're not capable of carrying out those goals and dreams, we may dissolve into stagnation or fear, right? Sometimes you may go get the materials and not actually begin. You may buy the book and not read it, you know, for fear and for holding back. And when we're doing that, we're fostering an illusion of separation. We feel impotent to step into our dream. Now, we have to be careful to not take the score too soon, right? The game is not over. It's not. It's never over. When we don't allow time to reveal the perfection of our passionate talent. Instead, we can follow some simple steps. We can recognize those imperfections, those things that are holding us back, as simply also unique expressions of the divine, manifesting through us. So Ernest says, if the spiritual universe were not perfect, it could not exist for even a single moment. The truth is indivisible and whole. God is perfect and complete. Period. End of sentence. Drop the mic. Service over. Let's eat. You know, one of the things that I said earlier was that those feelings of fear and things that are holding us back, those are fostering an illusion of separation. And that, like, if there's one message to take out of this teaching, it's that the cause, the root of all of our pain and suffering is a false sense of separation from source. And it's real easy to do because we have four walls around us. We all look different, we speak differently. We have this illusion that we are separate. But when we move into this teaching, we get to know that, guess what? They're at the core, back of all existence manifest in the universe, is that one thing that some people call God, some people call spirit. So what we come to church for, there may be things we want in our lives, but what's deeper than that behind it is we're healing that sense of separation. I am remembering who I am. I am one with source. So the universe, God, big sweetie, whatever we want to call it, it delights in expressing itself in us and offers little guideposts along the way. Maybe it's the book that pops up or the thing that you see on social media or a conversation with a friend. We get to trust those interactions we have with others. That's the process of affirming that everything is indeed working out for our highest good. There are no accidents or mistakes in life. Everything unfolds according to our belief systems as a natural outcome of our thoughts. Not making anyone wrong or responsible for the crappy things that happen in our lives, because they do, and it's complicated. But there are no accidents in these connections that we have with other individuals, or stubbing our toe on the corner of the bed metaphorically and saying, ouch, that hurt. I need to learn from this and go in a different direction next time. So when we broaden our expectations and celebrate our quirks, and we are a quirky bunch, then unanticipated surprises will be just on the other side. The seed of perfection that's always there is growing within us. Okay? Only our judgments can hold back or block that unfold. So y'all know Jim Carrey, right? Dumb and Dumber, great fart humor along the way, a lot of funny stuff. But anyway, he's a natural talent and has a flair for being funny and dramatic. His parents would invite him over when he was a child, and he would just become the theatrical, big funny facial expressions entertainer. He quickly discovered that he found joy in making people laugh and learned a valuable lesson from his father. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality, he said. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe it was possible. So he made the conservative choice and instead got a job as an accountant. I did that once. But then Jim Carrey shared the moral of the story. When I was 12 years old, my dad was let go of that safe, practical job. Our family had to do whatever it could to survive. And Jim said, I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which is that you can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. Interesting too, while Carrey was struggling to find work as a comedian and in the entertainment field, his father tried to help him, often driving him to Toronto, he's Canadian, to appear at comedy clubs. Carrey's impersonation sometimes bombed, which gave him doubts about his career path, and his family's financial struggles made it difficult for them to support his ambitions. But he nonetheless had the support of his family and people that believed in him. And then in 1985, Jim Carrey made an audacious decision. Some of you may have heard that. He wrote himself a $10 million check. Wow. For acting services rendered. Dated 10 years in the future and kept it in his wallet. Wow. Call it a coincidence, but in November 1995, 10 years later, he was cast in the movie Dumb and Dumber, for which he was paid $10 million.
Wow.
Carrey tried to become famous by visualizing it, but he had his doubts. The actor said, at the time, this is really important, All it really was for me was kind of making me feel better. Right? When obstacles and fears were popping up, he had an opportunity to know that I've set this intention, I've set this tone to know that that $10 million check. Now, he put 10 years in the future. If we were praying for it here, we'd say, yeah, in other words, the next week, this or something even better, right? Leave some room. But I love that. He did it so that he could make it, he let himself feel better. And as a comedian, he gets energy from putting things out in the universe. It was something that worked for him, a great lesson. So we already talked about the doubts that we have are often from that false sense of separation from God. Can be really easy to doubt ourselves and our abilities. We are sometimes hardwired for fear, from those survival instincts. And you might say, oh, I know better than that. I'm not going to be fearful. But when you step off the curb and there's a car streaming your way, fear is a really helpful thing to have right there, right? Let the adrenaline kick in, let us jump back, let us catch up and then move forward safely. But when that hardwire thing is triggered because I say, I want this in my life, I'm looking for this intention for my relationship, I want this financial flow in my life, I want myself to be healed, whole, and healthy of anything wrong with my body right now. And if I have fear to say, oh my gosh, but what if that doesn't happen? That trigger comes on. We've got to be able to move out of survival instincts, right? And just recognize that some percentage of our thoughts every day are negative. They're just flowing through out of habits and patterns, and maybe sometimes just out of survival mode. Okay? But let's remember we are never separated from the universal intelligence. We are guided in the directions that we need to take. Absolutely we are, right? How did we wind up here in Tulsa in 2023? And think, what year is it? Right? There are so many little decisions and paths and universal nudges that led us not only to Tulsa, but led us into this room on a Saturday night at 5 p.m. at the Center for Spiritual Living, where we're meeting people along the way who are supporting us in knowing this truth, right? Whenever we think, I don't know where to go from here to there, think of all of those paths, those little decisions or left turns or right turns or tweaks or maybe a step back or forward that led us to that place of true magnificence. Defensiveness and self-doubt can hinder our passions and feelings of purpose if we act from this belief of being alone in the world. We might fear that no one will like what we have to offer. Get that Dior thing going. That it's not good enough to share with the world. But those beliefs can stunt our expansion. So when they come, recognize that Dior is on one shoulder, but Tigger's right over on this shoulder, ready to bounce us into that next expression. Another thing to take away from this concept is that failure is just fun, right? Not everything is going to work out. We share that Intuit is a software company. They do accounting software. And they give an award every year for the best failure to their employees, right? And they have failure parties to celebrate that.
Oh, I love that.
I love it. Intuit co-founder Scott Cook says, every failure teaches us something important that can be the seed for the next great idea. There's a reward at Google company for making those big mistakes and taking risks as well. Both companies recognize that lessons come out of discovering what doesn't work. It's so important. So important. When we step out of that comfort zone, we allow growth and expansion. We change our course when we believe in our project or our dream, and we recognize that this is what we're here to do, despite how it may look to others. Leaning into that choice then, that is not uniquely, powerfully our own, is often based on the desire to fit in. If we're leaning into something that's not what we really want to do, we're saying, do I not want to not rock the boat? Do I want to just fit in? Now I'm back in survival mode, not thriving mode. Now, those beliefs that I'm not enough are also just thoughts. And they can be replaced with thoughts of I am. Those thoughts have no special power. Self-doubts are created by us. So who gets to let go of those thoughts of self-doubt? Right? We release our perceived opinion, we release those perceived opinions, we can then take greater chances. We can also reach out to someone who's a cheerleader, right? There's a lot of cheerleaders in this room. If I put an idea out there, most of the time you're gonna get a response of, awesome, have fun. How can I support you on that? Because we believe that that seed was planted for some reason. The other thing to talk about in relation to this is perspective, right? Perspective gives us the opportunity to see the perfection in all events, all creations. We often judge the outcome, or like I said earlier, take score too soon when the manifestation has not yet been revealed. We can turn shambles into shortcuts by recognizing the gift or lesson with them, sparking a new insight. Something new comes out of that perspective. Now, if you look closely at an intricate tapestry, think about a tapestry. You might believe that it's a mangled mess of yarn and fabric. Imagine looking at it like this level. You might believe that it has no design whatsoever. Instead, that perspective, when we take a moment to step back and look at it with more gentle eyes, we can then see the images come forward that the artist intended. These are the images that the artist, also known as spirit, is there to bring those ideas forward to you. The Unitarian Universalists have this seventh principle, and they believe that we live in an interconnected web of all existence. I love that phrase, an interconnected web of all existence. And when we step back from that, we can see the beauty of it. Christian Sorensen is a minister with the Centers for Spiritual Living. We're going to hold him in prayer too. He had a bike accident, knee surgery, broken ribs. So we love Christian. He's in CSL in San Diego. But he said, when you're too close to something, it's impossible to see the larger picture. The defense system of your myopic vision will keep you from going outside the norms and have a new projection. When you're too close, it's harder to see the larger picture. It isn't until you step back from that tapestry from afar that you can see that bigger picture and how everything is woven together in that interconnected web of all existence. Have any of you subscribed to the Notes in the Universe by Mike Dooley? I think you maybe just stopped doing that. I'm trying to remember, but it's an email that basically sends you an affirmation every day. And he sent this one. Treating any old job as if it were your dream job is the fastest way to spark the kind of life changes that will yield you your dream job. So treating any old job, treating right where my feet are right now, as if it were my dream job, dream experience, dream relationship, that's the fastest way to spark those life changes to yield that dream job. Changing our perspective, knowing that we're connected to that web of all life, then lets it be the fuel for moving from this place to there. So where do we go from here? We can question our long-held beliefs, right? Why am I hanging on to those that are based in fear? We have that opportunity to move more boldly by stepping out and taking new risks. I was thinking, we had a board meeting before this today, and it's resonating with part of our conversation, right? We have an opportunity to move into knowing that each day we can, maybe even should make a mistake. Maybe we can or even should fail at something. And then knowing that it expands our being. It is our choice regarding if and how long we want to keep living the idea of unworthiness or comparing ourselves to others. We are indeed each blessed with the divine seed that is just waiting to sprout. There is no separation. And when we belittle ourselves, we belittle the spirit that created us and diminish the power therein. When I am belittling myself, I am talking to the God within. And that God is saying, oh, heck no. Right? There is no separation. So we step into knowing that each passion we have is assisted with a perfect pattern, activated at birth of the idea, and the universe expands by playing and creating through our unique, perfectly imperfect human form. You want to pray? Yeah, totally. All right. Infinite Spirit, divine source of all that is life. I recognize that each person walking this planet has within them 100% of God. That all of the beauty, all of the intelligence, all of the creativity, all of the thoughts that created the magnificent inventions in our world today, they are within each of us right now. And so I recognize that moving forward into life with a knowing that we are one with Source allows us to take that step into the powerful creative place in life, knowing that any stubbing of toes or making a mistake or goodness gracious failing miserably, that all of that is the essence and spirit of God. And just like those athletes who make a mistake, they shake it off. So you know that spirit is asking us to shake off those senses of failure or misgivings or mistakes and say, wow, that was fun. Wow, there's something to be learned from that experience. And wow, I think I'll do it differently next time. Because spirit is calling us to that greater true expression. And that magic happens as we get closer to the edge of our comfort zone, not from that comfy spot on the couch. And so I know that as we step boldly into the essence of creative life, that we have the opportunity to follow those stepstones to say, yes, this is the way. All for this beauty that create an absolute exciting, beautiful place in life. I knew too that the center of each of us is a place of love. And from that place of love, we can reach out a helping hand to those in our community, in this room and outside, with an applause, with support, with enthusiastic energy that goes into supporting each other in the pursuit and the revelation and the creation of our dream. I know that all of them are held gently in God. And so I give thanks for this prayer. I give thanks knowing that as we align with that interconnected web of all life and know that we are divine having this experience in the world, that the good follows shortly. And so this prayer is let go. It's released into the law of life that is always saying yes, because God takes great delight in its experience in, as, and through us. The law is saying that. And if you'd like to affirm this prayer with me, and let it plan it and let it go, and so it is.